Welcome to episode 88 of the Epilogue Lady podcast. My name is Bente and I'm coming to you from Vesterålen, northern Norway, where I live with my husband and 3 cats. You can find me on Instagram as Arctic Crafts, on Facebook and Etsy as Arctic Crafts by Bente, and on Ravelry as Arctic Crafts 65. There's also a group for the podcast on Ravelry, the Arctic Crafts group, and we have a make-logger running, the Grinchmal, where you can enter anything selfish that you're knitting for yourself or something green. It doesn't have to be green if it's selfish, but that's the rules. And whips are allowed, but you need to be finished with the project when the make-along ends at December 31st, and I'll be drawing the winners January 1st. So that's the admin. I have a Ko-fi page where you can support me and the podcast. Today is a rainy, overcast day, and the day started with me having a doctor's appointment, so I'm a little later than usual recording. But hubby's got a full day of work ahead of him, so I'll manage to both record and edit, hopefully, before I have to pick him up from work. I did a trunk show this weekend. Didn't sell a lot of yarn, but it was nice anyway, because I love hanging out with Gry at the local yarn store. So, not a waste of time anyway. And the shop reopened at noon yesterday, and the yarn I dyed up for the trunk show that didn't sell, I put in the shop yesterday evening at 8 p.m. Central European Standard Time, and I'll be showing that as usual at the end of the podcast in my shameless self-promotion bit. I'm going to start with something that's basically show and tell today, because I have a bit of admin to talk about regarding this. If you remember, I got a skein of Kraemer from RiverKnits as a present from one of my subscribers in the UK, and I loved it so much, so I ordered some more. And first I ordered these 2, and then I noticed they had a colorway called Pumpkin that I really loved, and I'm using this in a project that I'm going to show you when I'm showing you my whips. The reason why I'm showing you this now instead of in show and tell is because they were generous enough to both offer a price donation for the Grinchmal. They were also generous enough to offer a coupon code for my subscribers, and that's 10% off any skein of Kraemer. So if you order Kraemer from them before the 28th of November, you get 10% off with the code Arctic Crafts 1122. And I'm of course linking the shop down below, and I'm also putting the code on the screen. So I wanted to start with that, so as many of you as possible heard that, because I'm not sure all of you suffer through the entire podcast episode. So with that out of the way, we can start talking about knitting. And first, what I'm wearing. This is an old sweater that I knit years ago, and it's too big, but it's really cozy, and it's So Faded by Andrea Mowry. And I'm not sure I remember all the... I think this is Nora George. This is Yarn Cafe Creations. This is me. And this is Suburban Stitcher. And the bottom one is Hedgehog Fibers. See, I remembered. And I really love this sweater because it's so cozy. So I wear this all the time these days because it's sort of chilly, So it's perfect. So that's what I'm wearing. And when it comes to FOs, I have 2 FOs. I have this. This is an everyday Slouchy beanie by Hoard Designs. And I've knit this in Arctic Crafts Fine Merino Fingering in the colorway Stracciatella and Suri Silk Cloud in Moody Mauve. It's really comfy, and because it's got a double brim, it's really warm as well. And because I have this kind of hair, I don't have to worry about getting, what you call it, hat hair. So that's my everyday Slouchy beanie, and I also have a sweater FO. And this is On the Beach by Isabell Kraemer. I did a very simple sweater because I wanted to show off the colorway. This is the Glacial Lake, and this is on Fine Merino Fingering, and I did some modifications. The pattern calls for you just cast off at the bottom so it rolls up. Same on the sleeves. The ones I've knitted before, I've used an I-cord bind off, but this time I did ribbing. The same in the neck, I used a ribbed V-neck instead of the I-cord. And because I wanted it a bit tighter in the neck, so I've worn this a couple of times as well, and I'm saving it for the Christmas market in McClure because it's going to be cold there. So I wanted something warm, and that's perfect with jeans or my dungarees that I normally wear a lot. So that's my FOs. I'm sorry if I'm rushing through this. Not sure why, because I haven't got that busy of a day ahead of me. I have to skein up a couple of skeins of self-striping. By the way, Rockin' Rudolph back in the shop, 2 skeins, just so you know. So that's what I have for FOs. But I have a few whips this time. I have some socks and a pair of fingerless mitts. I just started these last night, so I haven't gotten too far on them. I'm going to do these before I start doing something else again, I think, because I want to finish these. These are for hubby. His hands get really cold when he's at work, so I knit him a pair already, and he wants another pair that goes further up his hand. And this is leftover undyed grey Polldale from the hat I knit him, my Moordale hat. Did I show you that? I'm not sure I did, actually. But he's wearing it, so it's difficult showing you. I think I have a picture I can show you. I'll put that up here. I can't remember if I showed you the Moordale hat or not. It's by Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears. And if I already showed it to you, here you go again. But anyway, I'm going to finish these, I think, before I pick up one of the other whips again. Unless I get bored with all the ribbing. I have 2 sock projects, 2 active sock projects, I should say, because I have several pairs of socks on the needles, but these 2 are the ones I'm working on. Because I'm working, I've put aside my other sock whips to work on Christmas socks. And yes, this is a Christmas sock. The colorway name is Christmas with Barbie. And the colors are blowing out a bit. I'm not sure what I can do with that because, okay, the colors look better back here. This is a 50-gram skein of self-striping. And the The dyer is Comfy Cozy Knits. She gifted me 3 skeins of 50-gram skeins of self-striping, and I'm going to show you the rest in show and tell. And this bag was also part of my Christmas box, and she sent me 2 of these, and the other one is a prize in the Grinch Mal. So this is, as you can tell, this is perfect for the Grinch Mal. And of course I had to use that for Christmas socks. The other active sock whip is also Christmas socks. And it's in this bag from the Tangled Stitch. And it's also sort of a Christmas bag, or at least it's a wintry. I have 1 sock finished, and I haven't cast on the second sock yet. And this is a Christmas yarn from Hobby, Christmas sock wool. And I'm using red for the heels. And the colors are not showing off properly today. I have to fix the lighting, but I'll do that for my next podcast, I suppose. This isn't easy. I'm not a professional, if you couldn't tell. So I'll just show you my last whip, and this is the whip I want to work on. But I'm pacing myself because I want to finish hubby's fingerless gloves. And this is a sweater I've wanted to cast on almost since it got published. And it's Andrea Mowry's Stonecrop Pullover. I'm thinking this might be bigger than intended, because I couldn't get the gauge to match. So I would have to knit it on really small needles to get the gauge right, but I didn't want to do that. So I'm knitting a size smaller than I normally would. But I think it's going to be a bit too big anyway, but I'll have to live with the positive ease, I guess. But this is a sweater that's going to be really warm, because when you knit stranded color work, it doubles. So I probably will have to use this instead of a jacket anyway. And here you can see, here is where I'm using the Kraemer. And the other color I'm using for this is from Sandnes. It's called Sisu. And the colorway name, or not colorway name, it's a colorway number, is 2564. And I love this. I wanted something that wasn't in your face, but where you could see the pattern. And I'm thinking this works. So that's the Kraemer in the pumpkin colorway that I'm using with this beautiful, warm, I'm thinking almost cinnamon brown. It's a beautiful color. I think they call it golden brown. When I put in the colorway number in Ravelry, it came up as golden brown. And I really want to work on this, because now I have split for the sleeves. So the rounds are much shorter, but again, I want to finish hubby's fingerless gloves first before I continue working on this sweater. This was my knitting when I did the trunk show, by the way. Or not the first day, because I bought the yarn, the main color, at the yarn store. So I cast on the sweater that night, and I used that as my knitting the second day. So those are my whips. This is Thursday work. I'm not used to talking this much this early in the day. I'm a bit all over the place today because I have lots going on in here. So I was considering not doing a podcast today, but I'm already a couple of days late, or maybe I'm a couple of days early, depending, because this coming Friday is my scheduled podcast day. But I decided to switch things around a little bit because I wanted to, instead of you having to wait 4 weeks for my next podcast, I decided 3 weeks were long enough because I had my son here, so I didn't record a podcast last Friday. So that's why I'm doing this now. And shop updates will still be the same weekend as my podcast. So my next podcast and shop update will be in 2 weeks. And that was I'm doing epilogues all throughout my episodes. So an epilogue is supposed to be at the end. I'm doing them all. I'm also doing them all over the place. But for new viewers, this is what you're getting in my podcast. You get a hot mess. And for those of you who's been around for a while, you're getting used to this. So maybe I shouldn't be that worried about me being a bit rambling. So those were my whips and my FOs. And this is going to be a short podcast because I only have show and tell and shameless self-promotion left. But before I start doing that, I asked for feedback on Dungeons and Dragons. If people wanted me to do an episode on Dungeons and Dragons. And it looks like you wanted that. I'm not an expert, neither is Hubby, and he's going to join me for that episode. So if you want to learn how to play Dungeons and Dragons, you have to look at tutorials on YouTube, but there are plenty to choose from. What we're going to do in that episode is, I think, talk about our campaign, how we do things, and Hubby told me I should ask you if you have anything specific you want to know. If you have questions about Dungeons and Dragons you want us to address in that episode, please write that in the comments below, so we can talk about it in that episode. And now we're going to do show and tell first. And I've gotten some more yarn in addition to the Chimera from RiverKnits. My Advent from Corner of Craft has shown up. And let's see. I have to pick out the yarn. My Advent from Corner of Craft arrived, and you'll see that during Vlogmas, because I'm doing Vlogmas. And starting December 1st, you'll see me opening that Advent. And something else you'll maybe get to see December 1st is me getting a tattoo. I'll ask the tattoo artist if I can record a little bit while he's doing it. So that's also going to be featured December 1st. And maybe later in Vlogmas there won't be a lot of exciting things happening, but I've given myself permission to do short episodes on days I don't feel like doing a lot of stuff. That's the way to do it, I think. So, the yarn I've gotten in the mail. I'll start with yarn I didn't buy but got gifted from Sue. She sent me 3 skeins, 50 gram skeins of self-striping from Comfy Cozy Knits. The Christmas with Barbie that I already cast on. This is a Halloween colorway, and again the colors are not showing up properly. It's better back here. It's called I Put a Spell on You, so I'm guessing this is was a Halloween colorway. And this is colorway is called Treasured, and it says it's seconds, so maybe the colors didn't come out right. Maybe there's a knot in the skein. I'm not sure. I'll find out when I cast it on, I guess. And 50 grams self-striping skeins work. I never, as you could tell, maybe I didn't show you. Just a moment. When I knit, when I know I only have 50 grams, I knit a short leg to make sure I have enough yarn for both socks. I sometimes just start with a provisional cast on and knit the entire skein in a sock neck, the same thing that you do when you use a sock knitting machine. And then I do a true afterthought heel and toes afterwards. But this time I'm knitting the socks. And I'm all knitting a short leg to make sure I have enough yarn. Worst case scenario, I have to start the pink for the toe a bit sooner on the second sock. But they're for me, so... And then I will know how long I can knit the leg. Because it depends a bit on the weight of the yarn as well. If it's a plumper yarn, there's less meters on a 50 gram skeins. On a 50 gram skein. So I'll find that out on the first pair, how long I can knit the leg. The other yarn I've gotten in the mail is this from Rusty Ferret. It's called So What? And this is a beefed up doll, so it's a double knit. I've ordered a skein, another skein from Rusty Ferret. I haven't gotten that in the mail yet, so I'll show you that next time. It was from a collaboration she did with another dyer. But this is, as I said, called So What? And it's a DK. Not sure what to use it for yet. But I really love this, and it's got nylon in it, so maybe a pair of socks for myself. So, and I ordered a sweater quantity of Malabrigo sock. This is their old sock yarn. I think the new sock yarn is called Super Sock or something, because it's got nylon in. They call this sock, but it's 100% merino, so I wouldn't make socks with it, even though it's high twist. Anyway, the colorway is Sabiduria. I'll just pronounce it like it's written. And I ordered 4 skeins of this because Malabrigo is sort of affordable, at least compared to other hand-dyed yarns. And I really love this color, and I came across a Norwegian shop that sells it. So if I order it from abroad, the shipping and VAT makes it really expensive. But when I buy it from Norway, the shipping is much cheaper and the VAT is already added. So I'm not sure what sweater to knit with this, but I have another sweater quantity. I have a sweater quantity of commercial yarn as well. But I have sweaters for hubby and my son to finish, so I shouldn't be casting on sweaters for myself. But I keep doing that anyway. But I shouldn't. I really shouldn't. I have a lot of sweaters to wear. Actually, I have that many sweaters that our wardrobe sort of collapsed. So I had to do some temporary measures because we can't afford to get new shelves for the wardrobe. So I think the weight did it. So maybe I should de-stash some sweaters. I'm also considering de-stashing some yarn just to get some money. I'll probably do that on Instagram if I decide on doing it, because I don't want to mix de-stash yarn with my own hand-dyed yarn, if you know what I mean, on Etsy. Plus Etsy takes almost 20% the money I earned there. So if I do a D-stash, I'll do it on Instagram. So that's a thing I'm considering. Because to be totally honest with you, I could use the money. But anyways, not sure why I talk about that here. Because if I decide to do a D-stash, you'll see that on Instagram. Then we'll talk about a bit of shameless self-promotion. This yarn is already in the shop. I put it in the shop last night at 8 p.m. Central European Standard Time. My usual. I reopened the shop at noon yesterday, but I wanted to do the update at the regular time, so that didn't happen until 8 p.m. And this yarn has tags and everything because I brought it with me to the trunk show. And this is Mowry on Highland Sport. This is a non-superwash, and that's why the speckles are kind of big. It's difficult to speckle non-superwash yarn, but I decided to try, and I love the way Mowry came out on Highland Sport. So this is 100% Highland wool, sport weight 300 meters to 100 grams, and it's one of my new-ish bases. And you can of course order a sweater quantity in this yarn in any color, practically any color in my shop. You just contact me and we'll see what I can do. So that's Mowry. I also dyed up the last of my undyed zebra sock because that base is on its way out of my shop because it hasn't sold particularly well. So, and I have a limited storage capacity, so some bases just have to go if they don't sell. And this is zebra sock, and it's pop rocks on zebra sock. And as I said, these are the last of my zebra sock skeins. Because I took this, I decided to stop doing that and instead having both non-superwash and superwash worsted. I've talked about those in my last episode, I think, because I have a non-superwash worsted that's bordering on Aran, and I have a superwash worsted that's a light worsted bordering on DK. So there's two different weights, or not, both of them are listed as worsted, but there's quite a bit of difference. This is the non-superwash worsted. It's 200 meters to 100 grams. The other skeins for the superwash worsted, I haven't got any new. I have that in the shop on different colors, but I haven't got anything that I've dyed recently. So, and that's 115 gram skeins. I can't remember the yardage of the top of my head, but I'll put it at the bottom of the screen. But those are 115 grams. So this is also 100% Highland wool, but this is worsted, and this is a new colorway that I'm calling Sea Breeze. I love this color green. It doesn't suit me, but I really love this color green. I also dyed that up on Gold Sport. That's sport weight. That's got 20% nylon and 80% merino and 300 meters to 100 grams. And Sea Breeze. And this is my Gold Sport. And this is also a colorway that I can do sweater quantities of course, on both worsted, DK, fine merino fingering, Polldale, Corriedale, whatever you want. I can do sweater quantities on any base and any colorway. And the last thing I dyed up for the trunk show, because I was out of it and I want to bring this to Nyksund, is Nyksund on Corriedale. And this has been in the shop before. I just added some because I was sold out. But Dungeons and Dragons question down below. Of course, any other comments as well. Even if I don't answer your comments, just put a heart on them. I read everything and I love everything you write. So keep the comments coming. And remember the Grinch mouth. Anything selfish or green. And the selfish stuff doesn't have to be green. It could be anything. Doesn't have to be a garment. If you knit some Christmas decorations for yourself and not to give them away, go ahead. WIPs are allowed, but you have to be finished by December 31st. So that's it. I'll see you again, either in 2 weeks or before then, if me and Hobby get our act together and get to record that Dungeons and Dragons episode. But I'll see you anyway. Bye bye.